In 2012, a group of young parents at Stafford Children's Centre took part in a series of workshops where they created handbooks and their stories were documented.
I generally think if you get pregnant while you're in school, I think it's a lot, well, I don't know, I suppose it's the same when at whatever age. If your class is a teen mum, your class is a teen mum. They're all under the same label. You're a slut or you're easy. People are just extremely over-opinionated and like to spout off whatever they feel without knowing the consequences. Because of people like myself, I've got to read that and think, well, that's not my situation. I didn't do it on purpose. And, you know, you don't ask for it. You don't ask for people to abuse you. It's just something you have to live with, like. If your parents can't afford to keep you, and a baby as well, then it's just, you'll have to sort of go your own way. Because obviously if your parents can't keep you, then where else are you going to go? But there's plenty of places to go anyway. But I'd assume it's more difficult being on your own at 17, 18 than with your parents, because you've had everything from them up until then, and then it's all just been sort of like pulled from under your feet.
The emotional struggles I have is sometimes it's acceptance that they're pregnant, the stresses that they can have during pregnancy to do with housing, where they're going to live, support from family, neglect of their family for not supporting them for being pregnant, they become isolated. If the partner hasn't stuck by them, it's just the fear of actually being pregnant and so young, of not knowing what to expect and what's happening to them.
The labour was hard because it lasted 4 days. That was hard. But then you forget about everything once you've got your baby. And then you get home, you think, oh yeah, she'll sleep, it'll be all cute to dress her and all of this. But in reality, you'll be up, feeding her, and then you have to clean all the clothes, make bottles up, clean everything, make sure you're looking after yourself. And by the time you've done that, you've got to start all the feeding, changing, everything all over again. So it's just a constant cycle of doing the same things over and over and over again. It can drive you batty. It will drive you around the bend. If you don't see anybody or you go out and do things, you will end up losing the plot. There was a girl that was in my school. She would have been in year 11. Year 11 when she got pregnant. She would have only been 15. And if that was me, I think I would have aborted, because she wouldn't have finished her GCSEs. She wouldn't have been able to go to college. She wouldn't have been able to do what she wanted to do. But whereas, obviously, I was a bit older. I was 18 when I got pregnant. So I did finish school, and I did do college, and I did have a job. I think what most people do it now is behind getting the houses and getting the money for it. I don't think they actually realise how hard it is to bring up a child and what people are giving you. If you can turn around and say, well, I've brought that for my child out of my own money, then it's a lot better than saying, oh, well, I only got pregnant to get a house because I was 16 and I didn't want to live at home anymore with my mum and dad and I wanted my own place.
A lot of the social struggles are problems with housing and also money. They have a lot of money issues, budgeting, and things like that we help them with at the centre, just to give them an idea of what's involved with having a baby, what costs are going to incur.
There is certain areas where there seems to be clusters of teenage mothers, and I think a lot of the areas, I mean, I'm originally from Nottingham, and the area I grew up in, yeah, there was quite a lot of teenage mums, and actually there still is, to be fair. I think a lot of it's to do with poverty as well. There's no jobs, you leave school, there isn't, you know, if you're not clever enough to go to uni or you're not clever enough to go to college, poverty has got a lot to do with it, because obviously the girls are coming out of school, there's no housing, you know, they get themselves into these kind of messes because there is nothing else for them to do. And I think it does, you know, there is clusters in sort of like poorer areas, i.e. Manchester, certain areas like Salford, places like that, Nottingham, where there's inner cities. And yeah, I think it is. And I think if you look at the cultural thing as well, you know, this the family network now, it's all broken down. Everything used to be about family, you know, looking after each other, educating each other, taking each other out, looking after the elderly, looking after your children. Now it's just a throwaway society, and your children are all mostly farmed out to either childminders or of our generation. I chose not to work. I mean, I used to work part-time so I could fit in with the kids. But you get so much now, and there's so much onus now on you want this, that and the other. But, you know, also on the other scale, there is a lot of poverty still. There is no, you know, there's no proper jobs now. There's no proper apprenticeships. And I think a lot of young girls fall into this trap of, I'll have a baby, I'll get a house.
We're really proud of the successes we have from the Children's Centre, of which we have many. We move our families on and we are able to get them the support they need at the time that they need it. We have success stories where we've moved families from living in sheltered housing into independent living. We've moved families so as they are able to get education, which in turn means that they can start seeking employment. Or in general terms, we've supported parents in their general parenting skills. This can be anything from behaviour to supporting them in potty training and weaning their child. All of these things help for the child to have a better future.